So, how is everybody doing? My state's burning down and it's the end of the world, so, an average summer. I have recreated a plugin that I used to have from a very long time ago. For those of you who have been following my channel for a long time, you might remember something called Make It Real, where basically I was petitioning mod creators to recreate mod ideas that I had, and instead of just stating out the mods, I would create those ideas within Denizen. And then I would say, I would love this to be a mod, because then I could, play with it on a single-player server, blah, 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 blah. Kind of a cool, little idea thing, but it was a bit weird that I was requesting people to make something that I had already made. Anyways, one of the, 2 videos I think that I did, 2 or 3 Make It Real videos I did, was on something called Master Crafter, and I really liked the concept of Master Crafter, but I didn't have the code for it anymore. I didn't upload it anywhere, and because of that, I wasn't gonna be able to use it unless I recreated it in its entirety. So I decided to do that. I decided to make a few changes for usability, and scale down some of the ambition a little bit. Plus, now it's in 1.16 and I can do some cool 1.16 things with it as well. So that's what this mod, or plugin rather, is, and this is kind of what we're going to go over today. So, broadly speaking, Master Crafter modifies crafting tools in armor. It adds an underlying hidden leveling system for roleplay purposes, or for maybe like an MMO kind of server, something along those lines. The idea is that the more of a type of tool or armor you craft, the better you are at crafting said armor or tool. So, the very first thing you're actually going to need to do before you can craft any tools is you're going to need to make yourself a hammer. Hammers are really easy, just 2 sticks and some resource in an upside down U shape on the top, and it'll get you your wood, stone, iron, gold, or diamond hammer. Textures obviously are very, very rough. I just threw the iron hammer texture into paint.net and just did a couple of color shifts to get all of these. But, oh, and by the way, this is a vanilla texture. For those of you who don't know, it shows up in the anvil. But you have to get yourself a hammer. So I am going to make ourselves a cobblestone hammer, just like this, and you've got yourself a stone hammer. Once you do that, you're going to want to make yourself whatever tools you want to make. So in this case, let's say I wanted to make a wooden pickaxe, right? So I'm going to take some sticks, I'm going to take some wood. I always go for oak, but any wood will do. And then you just throw it onto the crafting bench, just like you would any other wooden pickaxe. Left click, and the item is gone. It took your resources, but never provided you with your pickaxe. That is what the hammer is for. What you're going to need to do with the hammer is forge the item by right-clicking on the crafting bench. Now that we've right-clicked on the crafting bench, some durability was taken from the hammer, and we've given ourselves a lowly wooden pickaxe. As you can see, it's lowly, not very good. The durability is incredibly low. But as we go and make more wooden pickaxes, our skill with making wooden pickaxes will increase. So you can actually make more than one at a time. Well, you have to forge them one at a time. But if you'd like, for example, let's say I want to make 20 wooden pickaxes, right? I can actually put 20, the amount of materials for 20 wooden pickaxes here and just shift click. It'll consume all of it and then leave whatever is left over. And now there's 20 wooden pickaxes that I need to craft. So I'm just going to go ahead and right click them. And as you can see, I'm getting each one coming out of the crafting bench for me. And as you look at them, they slowly start getting more and more durability over time. And the ones that are poor pickaxes, you'll have lowly, wooden, pitiful, inferior, insufficient, substandard, not good stuff. And if you want, you can always use the vanilla process of combining two tools or armor or whatever to get one that is has more durability. So if you'd like, you can always sort of hook yourself up with one that is a little bit better, right? But you'll have to still make at least a couple of wooden pickaxes to get to that point. So we're just making ourselves a couple more pickaxes. As you can see, the durability is going up. There is a random chance, a random amount that the the underlying level, can increase. And that actually is within the configs for you to be able to change. And we'll go over the configs later because I really tried to make the configs as expansive as possible. So anything that you might want to be able to change, I tried to make it I tried to make those values available for you to change, for finding them easily, for adding, for removing, whatever you want to be able to do. But yeah, so this is us making our wooden pickaxes. As you can see, as they get a little better, they stop being called like worthless and just start being called like so, generic, usual, things like that. It's a fair wooden pickaxe. And if we were to continue crafting our wooden pickaxes, you would basically end up with something like this. Starting all the way down here with basically 0 durability, it would increase all the way up until you get to a point where you have some astonishing, agreeable, notable, great wooden pickaxes. And all of these have full durability. And so there's a period between when you go from some durability damage being taken up to this area where enchants start getting added. So this is around level, quote, 90 or 90% of the way. It depends on how you want to think of it, right? But this is from 1 to 75, then from 75 up to 90 is just full durability pickaxes with no enchants, and then from 90 onwards to 100, you have enchants being added, and the level of the enchant getting added and the amount of enchants getting added can all be changed in the configs as well. And eventually, once you hit level 100 or 100% or however you want to think of it, you will reach what is called Master Crafter for, specifically in this case, wooden pickaxe, because that's what we've trained with. And you'll start getting tools that have names on them. So in this case, this one is called Wrathbright. It has looting 1 and knockback 1. And what Master Crafter does is a couple of things. One, all of the tools that are crafted, Master Crafter tools, wow, that's getting a little weird. Let me rephrase this. All of the tools that you make, when you are a master crafter of that tool, you can have them be announced, right? Because they're legendary tools. They have a higher chance of getting enchants and so on and so forth. They have a 1 in 1,000 chance of being unbreakable, which is called an infinity whatever the name of the tool is. And lastly, if you become a master crafter in wooden pickaxes, when you begin working on... Oh, I never threw cobblestone in here. If I were to then start making cobblestone pickaxes, the XP gain for cobblestone pickaxes would be twice as fast than if I had just skipped wood entirely. And you might think, well, stone's so cheap. Who cares if I have to make 100 or 200 wooden stone pickaxes? It's all the same, effectively, right? Well, here's the thing. As far as stone pickaxes, yeah, sure, you could probably skip straight to stone pickaxes. But what about when you start getting to more expensive recipes, right? When you're making iron or gold or heck, even diamond tools. It really pays to be master level in the material directly beneath the one that you're working with, right? Because that way you can, having double XP gain on diamond is so much more useful, because diamond's expensive, right? So if you're only having to use half the amount of diamond to get up to master level, that can be really powerful. But then also you'll have to have a bunch of gold, and then if you don't happen to have a bunch of gold, you might want to also max out on iron to get up to gold, to get up to diamond. And then of course, if I'm a master crafter for wooden pickaxes, well, a pickaxe and a shovel aren't the same thing. Yeah, they're both made out of the same material, a wooden shovel, wooden pickaxe, but that I don't know how a shovel works. The bend of the shovel, the way that it attaches to the handle, it's all different. It's too different for me. And therefore, I could be a master in making pickaxes, maybe even I'm a master in making diamond pickaxes, right? But I can't make shovels or hoes or swords. None of that's available to me unless I train for that as well, right? And so the idea is that you might have some people who are masters in all of the wood and all of the stone and maybe even some iron stuff, right? All the leather, all the real basic stuff. Everybody's kind of a master at making basic stuff, right? But if you really want to become a master in making those expensive things, unless you happen to have a lot of resources, you'll probably want to narrow your focus. Instead of trying to become master in all diamond armor, maybe just be a master in only diamond chest plates, right? So you have that sort of balance to play with. How like, do you have the resources to go for all of them, or do you only have the resources to train for one thing, etc., etc.? So we've gone over the idea of crafting up our pickaxe or our tool or whatever to get up to the next level. And in the case for tools, it has the natural level of progression, which in this case is wood, and then cobblestone, iron, gold, and then diamond. But for armor, there is normally only 4 different levels of crafting, right? You go leather and then straight into iron. There's no sort of stone analogous material, and it felt a little bit I wanted it to be more like how tools have 5 different levels. I wanted something similar, and conveniently enough, there is already a there's already a item in Minecraft, chainmail. And chainmail doesn't normally have a recipe, so I just threw in a real easy recipe, just some iron nuggets, and chainmail fills that slot between leather and iron really well, I think. So in this case, if you wanted to do Master Crafter for armor, you would have to go leather, then chainmail, then iron, gold, and then diamond. So now that we've gone over that, there's 2 things you're going to need to be aware of. When you hit master level for any tool or piece of armor or anything like that, you're done gaining experience. For wooden, for gold, for iron, for leather, stone. Diamond is a special case. When you hit master level in diamond, you will actually continue to gain experience in diamond. What this means is that if you max out in not max out, but if you continue to train with diamond, there is technically no cap to the amount of levels that the enchants can get. By default, the enchants, I believe you have something like, you can get up to 5 enchants for diamond, and they can be up to roughly level 3 once you hit master. But if you were to be level 200-ish, right, like twice the amount to reach master, there's a chance that you could have up to level 4 enchants on your diamond pickaxe. And if you were to keep training, you could keep going theoretically forever. Obviously, at a certain point, it will become sort of unrealistic to continue trying to gain levels in diamond pickaxes or shovels or whatever it is you're training with. It will just be very expensive, the gain will be very little, and honestly, once you reach a certain level for enchants, say a high level in Unbreaking or a high level in Fortune, you don't really need to keep getting more. Like, at a certain point, you'll feel like you probably won't want to keep going, but there is nothing stopping you. So that's a cool little thing. Secondly, any op who is playing the game, anyone who has operator permissions, as in /OP, has the ability to use the set level command. And set level is very simple. You can either pass in a player name, right? Or if I wanted to, I could pass in, say, my wife's player, for example, and I could set wooden pickaxe level to 50, right? And in this case, she's not online, so we'll just do mine. Wooden pickaxe, 50. And it says I've set so-and-so's wooden pickaxe level to 50. And then if I were to craft some tools. Actually, here, let's set it to 5 and craft some tools. You'll see that I've made myself just a level 5 wooden pickaxe. And if you wanted to get the max level for, making master tools, you can set it straight to 100. Personally, I like to set it to 99 because when you do make that level 100, when you make that tool that pushes you into the level 100, you get the achievement popping up, Wooden Pickaxe Mastery, and then you get some announcements. Jumpspot 120 has become a Master Wooden Pickaxe Crafter, and then they've crafted Sun Cold, a wooden pickaxe, which you can see right here, and it's got mending on it. So, that is that. As far as in-game, that is everything that you need to know, making your tools, using the command, so on and so forth. However, that's only really half the information, because we have the most extensive config I think I've ever created before. This config is wild. So you'll see it falls under, in the main script file, if you scroll down, it'll say start config, and everything in here is stuff that you can totally change without worrying about anything being broken. Up here, this is basically everything about our wooden pickaxes, or wooden tools in general, rather. Lower XP, upper XP, enchant level max, enchant amount max, and forge hits. So lower XP bounds is the lowest amount of XP you can gain for each tool crafted, and upper XP is the highest amount of XP you can gain per craft. Enchant level max is the highest level enchant that you can get when you craft that tool, and enchant amount max is the highest amount of enchants that you can get when you craft the tool. And then forge hits is how many hits does it take to craft the item. So in this case, wood takes only 1, but if we were to look at iron, for example, it takes 3. So 1, 2, and then on the third hit, it would give you the iron item that you wanted to craft. And as we can see over here, the lower XP bound for iron is actually 0.1 and upper is 2. Enchant level max 2, so we can have up to 3 enchants on the iron tool, and each enchant can have up to level 2. Down here you can see Mastery Multiplier, and this is the multiplier given to the next level if the previous level has Mastery. So in this case, if I was Master in Wooden, and then I began crafting Stone, then I actually have whatever the result is between lower and upper, right? So say it was roughly 1. I will actually, that value will get multiplied by this amount, right? So if I were a master in wooden pickaxe and then I start crafting a stone pickaxe, I'd actually have a range of 1 to 5, right? Same thing for iron, it would be 0.2 to 4, gold would be 0.2 to 3, etc., etc. And then if we look at diamond, you'll notice diamond does not have an enchant level max, because again, like I mentioned, you can continue making diamond levels, or you can continue gaining mastery experience, and the enchant level maximum will just keep increasing over time. For those of you who are curious, the formula is the value of the enchant level, the mastery experience level, divided by 10, and then I believe rounded down, and then we take the square root of this, and then we round it down again. I'm not 100% sure if this round is in here. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. But just so you guys know, that is the formula for that. Down here is the unbreakable chance. So the chance of your tool becoming an infinity tool is 1 out of whatever this number is. So if I were to just set it to 1, 1 out of 1 chance, so I get an infinity red light masterwork wooden pickaxe. So this is what unbreakable tools look like, by the way. They will say infinity on them. They'll have some colors, which will be it'll be a random hue, like slice, right? And it won't say unbreakable, but it is unbreakable. And there's a different announcement, slightly different. You'll notice this one up here says Jumpspot 120 has crafted Sun Cold, a wooden pickaxe, and this one says Jumpspot 120 has crafted Infinity Red Light, a masterwork wooden pickaxe. And those can be changed in the configs as well under announcements. So the mastery, if you reach mastery rank, do you want to announce that? Yes or no? When you craft a tool, if you want to announce that, yes or no, and unbreakable, yes or no. And how it stands right now is that mastery will announce whether or not these are enabled. If you set this to true and one of these to true, both of these will announce. So that's what happened here, is that the announcement for becoming a master crafter happened and the tool happened at the same time. However, if you have crafted an unbreakable and the tool is unbreakable, let me just set that back before I forget. If the tool is unbreakable, this one overwrites this one. So you can have these at the same time. You won't get a double post effectively. And these are announcements, not narrations, so everybody can see them. Some values get piped into these. For the mastery, it's the name, the material, and the tool. The name of the player, the material of the tool that's being crafted, and what kind of tool it is. And the name is not capitalized, and the material and tool, the first letter is capital. You can also use technically you could use any denizen tags here, but just so that you know, most colors will work. So if you just were to do something like red, that would just make those characters red. You'll want to do color then formatting, not the other way around, because color will remove formatting. So that's how you can sort of set that up. And then as far as the crafted and unbreakable, you have the same player name, material, and tool, but you also get the tool's name. So in this case, like Sunbright or Infinity or blah, 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 whatever those are, right? Those will all show up here. As far as the coloring for tool names, if I remember correctly, it's always just going to use whatever the tool name's actual coloring is. So you can't really, if I remember correctly, I don't believe you can overwrite like the Infinity or the purple Sun Cold, right? Like it's always going to be purple simply because the color is part of the name. So putting a color before it isn't, it's just going to stay purple anyways. Just keep that in mind. Down here we have flavor adjectives. So it's broken up into 4 categories: poor, average, good, and great. And this is 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and 75 to 99 as far as like your level in mastery, right? So if my mastery level is 22, it's going to pull from the poor adjectives. And all it does is it takes any of these adjectives, it'll capitalize it automatically, so don't worry about that. And it'll take that and then just stick the name of the tool in front, like this. So then you end up with a tool that was called Trifling Wood Pickaxe, or Trifling Diamond Helmet, or whatever it is. Down here is Mastery Names, and this is where the name generation for Mastery tools comes from. All Mastery tools and armors use this table. So you can have tools and armor being named the same thing. And there's a lot of generation possibility here. Basically what it does is you have all these content words, and then you have a prefix and a suffix. And it will automatically determine whether it's going to be a prefix or a suffix. So if say it was a suffix, we would take content, it would go and find one of these randomly, and it would be like, okay, we're going to do dragon. And then it'll grab suffix, and then it'll pick one of these randomly and be like, dragon gift. And now that's the name of the tool. If it were to pick prefix, then it would just do prefix, right? It will say, let's pick night, and then it'll do content and go, how about earth? Night earth. That's the tool name. You won't ever end up with prefixes and suffixes on the same tool. It's one or the other. And just, keep in mind, try not to, it's really easy to end up with duplicates. There's a lot here, so, just do a quick Control F to see if what you're putting in already exists. You don't really want to end up with a tool called Ash or something like that. for example. If you did want to increase the possibility of a specific thing showing up, however, you can always just throw a few more extra in there, right? And so now Ash has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, is 6 times more likely than any other word to show up. If you wanted to weight one particular word over another. And that is all of the configs. Everything past this point you really shouldn't have to mess with. This is all of the formatting, the keys for various amounts, etc., etc., etc. This is where all the events hide. If you were curious, if you actually need to know what events are, because you want to make sure it works with everything, these are the events. The only thing that would probably be an issue would be the on-player crafts, right? Because that's how we determine that you're crafting a tool or piece of armor. But if you did also need to do some other thing with any pickaxe or any axe, you would have to modify these events. But otherwise, all of these use with tags, right? Or refer to custom tools that most likely wouldn't exist anywhere else. So luckily, it should be very, very drag and drop. And then all the custom items and the command and everything. The command has lots of error checking as well, so hopefully you really shouldn't run into an issue where the command that you're trying to run you'll try to set the level and mistype, and it's like, oops, I set the level to T when I meant to set it to 10, you know, and then just totally break everything. It should sort of catch most of those, but it's totally possible that I might have forgotten something. So, you know, you should just be able to, if you type something wrong and you're worried like, oh shit, I'm going to break this, just use the command again. It'll overwrite it. The way that it works internally is that if I were to create a tool, right now my level is set to 100, right? And I made this wooden pickaxe, and then I were to go set my level afterwards, we'll say wooden pickaxe 5, it's going to actually use the level 100 pickaxe, right? Like that's the one that was already made, so to speak. Like it was made at level 100 and it was just sitting there waiting for you to forge it. But once you've done that, any other pickaxe you made would be the following level. So if you have a bunch of pickaxes just sitting there already made and they're all low level pickaxes, and you set your level after the fact, all of those low level pickaxes need to, you know, flush out the buffer before you can get to the newer level you set. So just keep that in mind. Set your level before you make your tools, otherwise you might think that it's not working. But hopefully, yeah, that's everything. That's all the configs information. There's only 2 files, this one and then a utilities file that I'm probably just going to start attaching to everything because it has lots of really useful utility functions. Some usage information, and there will be a link to the video here as well, so you'll actually have all of that information at your fingertips. If you guys have any questions about the plugin, or you encounter any bugs or anything like that, let me know. Feel free to reach out on Discord. Feel free to reach out on YouTube. Feel free to reach out on Twitter, although that would be kind of interesting. But I am pretty available everywhere, and I use the same username across everything, so I'm not hard to find. And yeah, I hope you guys find it interesting, find it useful, and enjoy messing around with it as much as I do. Thanks so much for watching.